Morning, everybody, and welcome to the May 13th edition of the Dawn Patrol. With me is my co-host, Bob Hoey. Going to be making an announcement pretty soon. He said on Facebook the other day before school.
The day before school.
Before
the day before it gets out, like the 15th.
And we have a guest coming on at 7 o'clock, his sister Charmaine. I call her Charmaine. I'm not going to the Charmaine Lemieux-PINTAL. She'll be here to talk about hearing aids and all that good stuff. And did you say you spoke with Ned lately? Or
I did, yeah. Neil's,
I know he'll want to come. He'll probably be back here eventually.
Ned has a problem with his wheels. I call it the wheels. His legs moving around a little bit, but he's on the mend.
Yeah.
He's dying to get back with us, and
sure.
And I told him there's plenty of time. You know, election season's just begun, right?
Right.
So I told him, heal up, buddy. We'll see you soon.
Yeah.
I miss him though. It's nice to have. I love when he has things that irk. Tommy, I love that.
That was always a fun time when you were here.
Yeah.
So you're saying the day before school ends, you're going to announce?
Yeah, I think school ends
early this year.
I think the 16th.
Yeah.
And on the 15th, I'll make a formal announcement. All I'll do is stand somewhere for a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
I'll do it myself on Facebook. That's all. I'm not calling the Lowell Sun. I don't call those type of people. Never did, never will.
Well, if
they show up, that's fine.
They don't print anything politically anyway. If you read, the column's gone. It's not like it used to be where they put, this one's running for this and this one's running for that. They don't even do any of that. So they don't even endorse in the elections anymore. Nothing.
Yeah, I just don't know what time I'll do it, but I know where I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it in front of the old Lowell Trade School.
Great.
And that's where I'll have my formal announcement. One time I had it under the clock at Lowell High School.
Yep.
One time I had it in front of the Rogers School here.
Yeah.
You bounce around to places where...
Well, let me know when you're going to do it.
Yeah.
We'll get Mr. Microphone,
I appreciate that, my friend.
we'll get it the way it should be.
Yeah. Well, that's a great way to do it. I was just going to stand there and Facebook myself, but having a microphone like that there and a little podium
No, be one of those little clippy guys.
Yeah, it's very important to me, just to be able to have a bully pulpit, Tom,
Yeah.
It'll be my fifth attempt at getting onto the Lowell School Committee, and I did succeed 4 times. So I'm hoping for a fifth. I'm up against...
So you served 4 terms, you're looking for a 5th, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I served 3.5 terms.
Right,
Let me put it that way
right.
until I
Then
resigned.
your last election, you did pretty well in that election.
I do okay when it comes to the schools, Tom. I can't figure it out, buddy. I can't figure that out, other than knowing that I constantly say teachers. Teachers are underpaid. They still are, especially the ones with over 32 years that still come here to help us. They're called tutors.
Yep.
We finally give them $40 an hour. We were only paying them $30. And I'm saying to myself, I was offered jobs for like $75 an hour to watch potholes.
Right.
It's not fair.
Right.
And don't blame teachers when I'm around. That's how I always felt. I'll stay that way to the day I die. It's an occupation that if you don't keep strong and happy is another word. Just keep building prisons where I worked, okay?
Right.
Because that's what type of product you're going to turn out. And in Lowell right now, the high school needs a ton of work. And I'll be having that formal announcement right in front of the old Lowell Trade School where I went for 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Lowell system, I'm telling you right now, if you have no money, elementary school, you're getting a good deal.
Right. Right.
Pre-K to 4, you get a good deal. Middle school, of course, we need issues.
Right.
But the big issues are at the high school, in my opinion.
And you're running at large, and now there's still 4 candidates in that race as far as you're concerned. Nobody's made an announcement they're not running again. Nobody, meaning Connie Martin and I always forget
Jackie Doherty.
Jackie Doherty. And you got Danielle McFadden, so it'll be a 4-person race.
Yeah, 4 for 2. Looking for
I
just 2.
I don't know if the other 2 are going to run. I haven't heard anything.
So
hopefully, she told. I think Doherty told McDonough she was going to make an announcement after the first of the year. Well, it's May 5th or May 13th, and no announcement yet. So
Tom, listen, why do you think I entered the race? I hope she runs. I hope Connie runs.
Yeah.
I hope Steve Gendron that's out there runs for the schools. The more the merrier.
Yeah.
Schools need some help. They need some help, that's for sure. I mean, I'm just looking at, like my friend that took over Brookline school system.
Yeah.
Linus Gilby.
Right.
He was in here. He came to Lowell through Joe Boyd.
Right.
He became the superintendent of schools in Brookline. I tried to stay close to him, like try to go out to dinner, but we never went out.
Right.
Great guy. He just resigned down there because he's got an $8 million. They're shy $8 million.
He left? He left?
Yeah, he left. It's on Facebook
I
if you
see
look it up. Yeah, Brookline. Great guy too, but
So they can't find the money, you mean, or he?
they're short $8 million. That's all I know.
Oh,
And he
boy.
resigned, and the guy had
So
another.
Bobby, if you go on your Facebook page right now and
Yeah.
share the show,
Okay.
your viewers will click in.
Okay.
See, what's happening now is, right now, the link that we've had for 14 years, it's like a big computer long address. Doesn't work no more. And people down in LTC can't figure out why it doesn't work, but it doesn't work no more. But that link supplied all the towns this show. So we've been, they've been trying to tinker around with it for the last 2 weeks. It ain't gonna work. So Roni Camille, the guy who runs Tewksbury, is being in touch with a company called Wirecast, and he's going to try to get a new link for us. So short term, the only way you're going to be able to watch City Life and the Dawn Patrol from 6 to 7 is on the internet. And while we're talking about that, since a lot of people are cutting the cord anyways, it's a good exercise for us to get a local program out on the internet. So we're going to watch carefully how that goes. Because some weeks, Bobby gets 1,200 views on Facebook, so he's got a pretty good.
It's easy to do. You just call Eric in. That's all you have to do, Tom.
Quite the following. But anyway, then we're live on all the public access stations from 7 to 8. But we want to get back to being 6 to 8 in the towns. Lowell's never going to give us 6 to 8 because they're still mad at us. They want to.
Now, John, can you tell the difference? We're only on a 6 to 7 in some communities, right? Just 6 to 7 until, right, and then we at 7 o'clock.
We're on 6 to 7 only on the internet.
Right, okay, all right. And then
And
Drake
7 to 8,
at
we're on.
Tingsboro, 6 to 8.
We're on all the
Right.
towns on the bottom. Put you guys back up. We're on all the towns from 7 to 8. We
Okay.
used to be on all the towns 6 to 8, and only the city, the stingy city, won't put us on 6 to 8. So that's
So, getting back,
the deal.
Tom,
Back to you
Yeah.
guys.
just to end what I wanted to talk about. Yeah,
Sure.
I really fell for this Linus Gilby. Good guy. Came to Lowell. I even said, watch and see, he won't last 2 months. I just knew it. He was that sharp of a guy. But
Yeah.
look at what happens.
Yeah,
Superintendent, and he has those big issues with budgets.
Yeah.
I'll bet you it's everywhere, Tom, because they spent all that COVID money, and you know there's cuts coming, but where are the cuts coming from? And I try to say it on the show who I am. I am pro-union, no doubt about it. I was a prison guard, and I thought we were the strongest union in the state of Massachusetts, especially when we had the people from ASME running it, and
Sure.
that the Rourke, one of your buddies there, Andy Rourke was one of the kingpins. I thought Arthur Sullivan, all kinds of great union leaders made us strong at Concord Prison. We were the strongest. 5,000 members worked in the executive branch, under the executive branch of government. So the governor had to listen to us, 5,000 people with families. And that union, we got the big pension for us, 2050 bill. You've heard me say it 100
Yeah,
times on
yeah,
the show.
yeah.
State troopers, remember what you got? They joined our union to get a 2575 bill. How do you like that? Then once they got it, guess what they did? They left us high and dry.
Oh, boy.
That's how I feel about things, Tom. And the same thing with teachers. They're the backbone of the system. And everybody else, I don't care what you are, a custodian up to a non-affiliated person that makes over $100,000 a year, your support staff. That's how this brain works. When I go to vote, I look at teachers. I'm not going to vote to cut teachers. I'm going to find other places to cut money. That's who I am, so you'll know that. They're the backbone, and they did everything for me, teachers. How do you win a seat like that, Tom? 255 million going up to, it'll be almost 300 million pretty soon.
Oh, boy.
It just keeps going
Yeah.
up, our school budget. Well,
yeah.
don't forget, you get 15,000 kids. Go ahead, Tom.
Well,
Go
I was
ahead.
just going to say about they're talking about this trash fee out in Drake it, and it's only a Band-Aid. This isn't going to solve all. People think, oh, it's going to solve the problems of Drake it. It's not, and it's only a Band-Aid. And I'm down to see what the new selectman does because he was the one that was against the trash fee, and I'm already hearing there's going to be rumbles at town meeting to take it out of the budget. I don't know. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be good.
You were here when we had Eric, and the simple
Yeah.
question we said, Eric, is our property taxes going to go up again?
Yeah,
You were,
right.
When do you ever see them go down?
Right.
You know? Then we got Sam Chase on Thursday. What's he always say? We get a good bang for the buck in Lowell.
Yeah.
In Drake, I have not several, but a few family members moved to Drake from Lowell.
Oh, Drake, you get a good bang for your buck out there.
Yeah, well, that's what they look at, the taxes. Property, only place they can get money, to me, is property taxes.
Yeah.
They're not getting money off marijuana places.
No,
Those
right.
places are killing it, too.
We got 2 texts so far. Has anyone ever given a reason why Concord State Prison was closed?
Yeah, Jay, I've given that several times on this show. It's
Real estate value.
No, what it really was, it goes back quite a while.
I got one more. I got one more.
Yeah,
You can-
but I have to answer that one.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Good morning. The overruns on the high school fall at the feet of the elected officials of the city. Will someone be fired or will other officials get extensions? No, we need good people to run for, we need more good people to run for city council. Bobby, so speak
Yeah.
to the prison, please.
Well, the prison one, I have to say something about. There is no doubt about it in my mind. It goes back 25 years at least, 30 years, actually right around 1979, when they had a strike at Concord Prison. And it was such a strong union that the state fought against Concord. They wanted to get rid of it. They wanted to get rid of everyone that worked there. I worked there for only 20 years. I couldn't do 32 years because it was such a hostile environment for a prison guard to work at. They just came after us for every small thing you could even think about, a little dust on the floor. But the inmates it was the beginning of the inmates taking over the prisons because of government. And they closed Concord, and it made them very happy. Very happy because they're trying to take away unions in this state. That's how I feel. It's an opinion show. They do the same thing at Susan Baranowski, your maximum prison. I mean, it's unbelievable. I went there.
And a state prison too? Was that
Yeah, it's a state
Where
prison.
did all those prisoners go from Concord? They just
They
moved on.
spread them out. They spread them out throughout the state. The same thing they do. That's the only real
Yeah.
good thing that happened. They took the COs from Concord and spread. I don't want to say COs, prison guards.
Yeah.
From Concord and
Yeah.
spread them out through all your prisons in the state, which is beautiful because all you did was send what I call solid people, to all those other prisons to make them a little bit stronger union-wise.
Right.
Because we totally get abused, especially on sick time issue. You do get sick quite a bit, especially when you get spat at or people's throwing urine at you or feces at you. I mean, come on.
God.
Let's be
Good
real.
luck. Man, God bless any of those people doing that job.
Yeah. But then they'll just cut the head off the superintendent someday. That's what they do to good superintendents out of prison.
Yeah.
Let one thing go wrong, and
It's his fault.
you're
Yeah.
good to union people, we're gonna cut your head right off.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we got that to deal with at Lowell High. It's been like at Lowell, especially Lowell High, over the past, 20 years, I guess.
Yeah.
I've been around 25, and I can't believe what we've done to Lowell High School. As far as hiring people, you can do all you want. I'll go with Miss Rothschild, because she's in Mexico, a New Mexico teacher now. She left Lowell High. She should have been the leader. But why? She was Jay Lang's sister. We can't hire her. Just like we don't want Jay Lang. I mean, what goes on with the inner works of our system? And nonprofits are involved in these issues and everything. It's a long story.
What
I'm
does
not
the
gonna.
school department feel? Because over DPW, the police department, fire department, generations of the same families have worked there. It's in their blood. Look at, I mean, in the undertaking business, it's been going on for over 100 years. Same family. It's in your blood. Why is it that you got a teacher that has a real good knack for administration, and her daughter or her son wants to become an administrator. Oh, can't do that.
Yeah.
Why? They do it over the fire department. You do it over the police department, DPW.
Well, yeah. To slide off that just a little bit.
Well, I
okay?
think it's going back to that theory of hiring, politics, you call it,
Well,
hiring.
in Lowell, we hire our friends. Come on.
No.
But I mean, wouldn't that be the same thing almost? You're hiring a relative? I know what you're saying. I know,
Yeah.
That's
say if you were the superintendent
I'm
of
the
schools
king of
of Lowell.
nepotism.
Yeah.
But if you don't function, you're gone.
Yeah,
yeah.
We don't keep Deadwood.
yeah,
But Tom, the superintendent that we have right now, Liam Skinner,
yeah,
that's another big issue of mine. And I'll leave that for when I get elected.
Right.
Hopefully I get elected.
Yeah.
He needs a vote like myself because he's the first time I ever seen them hire within to show the other 1,300 approximate teachers and your 400 paras and all your cooks that you have a career ladder in Lowell. You can get to that 250,000 plateau. You can get there. All right? And Lowell's very lucky, too. So I'd be a vote for Liam Skinner only because he already proved to me how to run a school. And I mean run it well. And principals are in charge of their money now. Don't forget
Right.
that.
right.
They're in charge of their money with the people inside their schools, school site councils. They get together and they do what they want with their own money. It's really new, just a couple of years. And Liam Skinner has just been there, I'm guessing, I forget how long, but I'd say working on 3 maybe,
Yeah,
right?
well, Rourke was the one when he became mayor to make him
Yeah.
permanent. Do you know if he got a 3-year contract?
I don't know. I
You
don't know off the
Yeah.
top of my
'Cause
head.
his 3-year contract be coming up
But-
right around the time,
But I can say this right now, the city, and I wear 2 hats basically because I'd like to drive around and look at homeless camps and all this stuff, Tom.
Yeah.
The city's moving, it's in an unbelievable direction as far as the city goes.
Yeah,
I mean, buildings are going up everywhere. I see so many positive things. I would have to be like my second favorite mayor out of the 4 that I work for, Bud Caulfield. He was the best at it. Everything's lovely. He could sing. It was fun. He was fun to work with. And even though he might not say the same thing that I was fun, I liked Bud Caulfield. He comes in second out of those 4
yeah.
on who did the best job as mayor. But I see so much positive stuff. I see yesterday up at Colley Stadium, the hole's so huge. I even said it might be 40 feet deep, right in the parking lot.
Gee.
Oh, yeah, it's a football field long. It's about a football field wide. And I'm like, whoa, what's going in here, And, of course, I spent my time up near the Riley School and Martin Field, Alumni Field there.
Yeah.
Stocklosa Field, I call it sometimes.
Sure.
Incredible what kind of buildings are going up. My own son is building St. Louis Church. 21 units, Tom, going inside that old church.
Was this St. Louis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comment from the audience, respectfully. The Lowell Public Schools rank at the bottom of the Merrimack Valley. Schools that have all sorts of problems. A high school that's over budget. How can we say they're doing a good job?
Well, I can say this for the people that work there and run that high school, and I'll say this to any student that's in that high school and all the students that don't go to it, okay? One thing you get at Lowell High School is an education on how to live on the streets, how to live in this world, because that's what that school's all about. That's not an easy school to go through. I didn't make it through. Junior year. I'm a fortunate one. Remember, the Army took me in. The Army made my whole life. These poor kids don't have that. And when I sit here and hear there's only 70 people, I love this one. There's only 70 people, Mr. Hoey, on the list to get into the Greater Lowell Technical High School. That's the biggest lie in the world. And they don't mean it as a lie, but to say that number, you have at least 1,500 children at Lowell High School, at least, maybe 2,000. And the top 1,000 are going to be fine. They'll go to MIT, they'll go to Harvard, they'll go to everywhere. UMass Lowell, a lot of them go to UMass Amherst, right? They all do that, the top 1,000. How about the 2,000 that were just like me? All I had was a Mrs. Keeley.
Yeah.
If I didn't have Mrs. Keeley, it was unbelievable. I wouldn't have made it to the Army either. And I wouldn't have been a prison guard. I would have been a prison inmate. all because I couldn't read. That's the way I look at my life and look at schools.
Right.
They failed me. They let me go from the third to the fourth, and I could not read. It happened to my son graduated, but he had the same type of problems as I did, I believe. My grandson, named after me, has the same type of problems. A lot of kids, and you want to talk discipline? There's your issue. Number one to me. Number one issue on discipline. There's no doubt, don't blame teachers. It's more about parents, because I was one of those parents. Now I'm a grandparent. You learn as you live. You got to teach your kid how to read at home. I use all kinds of tricks to try to get my 9-year-old to read more. And she can already, third grade, she can read at a fifth grade level. Half her class, or maybe more than half her class, can't even read at a first grade level. That was me. What do you do when you can't read? Oh, little Bobby, get up and read. This is what they did to us in our day. Stand up in front of the class and read.
Exactly.
There was no way I was going to do it. I'd act up. I'd make kids laugh, other kids laugh. I was the clown of the class. Out in the hallway, Mr. Hoey, boom, 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 back of the hand, whatever. That's all it was. But I never really learned to read well enough. As I aged, of course, you're going to learn over time. But I was touched by a Mrs.
Keeley.
I keep mixing her up because there's a Mrs. Haley there, too. That would have been my type of teacher if I was at Lowell High School, okay? Because they know how to discipline a kid. They do it with like a mixture of love and a little bit of meanness. The high school shouldn't be teaching students how to live in the streets. They should be teaching them how to stay out of the streets. Yeah, there's no doubt, but what I'm saying to you is when you're in a high school, you got to look at the whole high school. Like demographics, you want to look at demographics? I'd say about 45% of it is Hispanic, 70 different languages. Then I would say about 29%, and I'm guessing at these numbers, approximate. 29% is Southeast Asian, people that love school, the majority of them. And then you got about 29% of whites, or Caucasians, I got to make sure I say everything right. And then you get about 8% black that are from Africa that all go to college. The mixture is unbelievable. So when your kid goes through Lowell High School, my grandson's in there right now. So I love when people say, I have students in the school system, Danielle McFadden. I'm glad she said that. I'm glad she put her name in. But she says that. I can say, I got grandchildren, I got nieces and nephews, I got this, I got that. That's what Lowell is. Lowell's high school is like learning the streets. If you can survive Lowell High School, right, you're going to survive any college. The top 1,000 will go places, I'm telling you. Look around us, everybody hires Lowell people. What?
When you look at the school committee, that's right, there aren't too many of the school committee people that have kids in this, well, probably grandkids in the system.
I loved when Danielle entered anyways. Danielle McFadden made when it comes to schools, made my life because.
Gotta get her on here too.
She's gonna win. Swim easy, buddy.
Yeah.
Easy. Top the ticket. That's what that might make someone drop out because ego. Some people don't like to lose. Losing's not a bad thing.
You're better off. I say it. I remember poor Jimmy Olaf was a selectman out in Drake. He served so many terms and he went out losing. He should have not run again. That's what I say. You're better off.
Oh, you should pay your dues.
It's hard to play the lottery number the day after.
Dougie Willett.
Well, let me say that.
Dougie Willett and Shaw knew better. They got out because they're probably going to eventually lose. And
how come another trade school hasn't been offered to the surrounding area? Everyone knows we need it.
Yeah,
But Mr. Krieger is the only one who mentions it.
I always give Mr. Krieger credit for mentioning it quite a bit. He always used to say most of the time, we need 2 high schools. There's no doubt about it. But we need more trade schools across the country, not just in Lowell. You need at least, in Lowell you could use your own. You could use your own, even though we got the Greater Lowell Technical High School. We have enough kids that you should have another one.
Another high school?
Yeah.
Where would you put it? Because the fight would be for that, Bobby.
Yeah.
That downtown Collie is going to be forever. 10
Yeah,
years
well,
ago,
that
we'll be on
fight
this show
there, that
still
fight's
talking about
over.
it.
Whoever wants to keep
It's never
fighting
going
back.
to.
No, it won't be over politically, but good luck there. Okay, good luck there. Like I said, things happen for a reason, and I see this hole dug in Crowley parking lot. This could be all that stuff that, Danny Rourke, the mayor, and all his friends are trying to build. I don't know, but I just see things that are exciting me on the city side.
Yeah.
As far as schools go. This city council, in the past couple of years, they're the only ones that are addressing maintenance. And when if people want to bring up the high school, we'll bring it up anytime.
Yeah.
Bring it up. There's nobody that played a bigger part in it than I did.
I know you don't read the paper, but there was something in the paper, I think Sunday, about what was the day before the Board of Health on some issues, I guess. I read something about Matt Sheehan and Underwood, and there were some issues with some of the schools before the Board of Health. That's what I'm. Did you hear anything about that?
No, I didn't, but right
John,
away.
did you see that in the paper? Oh,
Yep.
Sunday's paper, I think it was, about how they had, I think it's Rick Underwood, is that his name?
Yeah.
Was before the Board of Health with some violations that Matt Sheehan had written up regarding some of those schools. I'm not 100% sure. I should have.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, when I used to go to neighborhood meetings at the Rogers School, there were mice and rats running around the building 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's, if that's what it is, sorry.
Yeah.
We're going to take care of it and move on. But why does it have to get to that reporting stage before we do anything about it? Build another one. Dig deeper into the taxpayers' pockets. Thank you.
yeah, well, that's,
DW, do you live in Lowell?
no, well, the thing about education, right, Tom, it's really simple. If you don't get an education nowadays, today, in this world, at least, I would say an associate's, but even a bachelor's doesn't mean it's that much.
Right.
If I heard, and I have friends I work with, their sons are about to graduate from the Great Little Technical High School as a plumber that's already got a job. We all knew it. I mean, I've said this for 20 years about trade schools, but Cliff Krieger was the one when I got on this show and I heard him talk about that stuff. I'm saying he's right. Eric Gitcher will probably tell you need 4 of them. I'm just saying, that's the way the world turned. At one time, they didn't even like shop teachers, the academic part of things at a trade school. I went there for a year. I had Bud Slattery for English. Remember Bud?
Yeah.
You remember Wally Gasick?
Yeah.
Anybody out there, if you're listening and you knew Mr. Gasick, a science teacher, and you didn't love that guy, there's something wrong with you. Something wrong with you.
I saw Dennis Canny the other day. He's going to be 80 years old. He's still subbing down at the high school. Dennis?
Well,
He's
of
going
course.
to be 80?
He's going to be 80. He's still
Dennis,
subbing.
Mr. Basketball.
Yeah.
There was nobody,
Good guy.
I never met anybody in the whole system. And because special ed will be at the top of my platform, really, it's a huge issue. Dennis Canny, you brought him up, not me. He was the best when it came to dealing with a kid, let's say that had Down syndrome.
Yeah.
Nobody did it better than Dennis Canny. I'm telling you, I used to watch him and say, boy, and he'd be out back and other people like Mr. Slattery's kid, Dave Slattery.
Question from the audience.
Yeah.
Would the citizens of Dracut like
No.
a trade school on Wheeler Street instead of the Murphy Farm housing development?
You could put anything out there and they wouldn't be happy. So, yeah.
Page 2, DW says 56 years living in Lowell.
Yeah,
So this indicates he's a blow-in.
yeah, that's okay though. I like
I
blow-ins.
think it might be a guy. I don't know if it's a guy or a gal, but thank you for your answer. Back to you guys.
Wasn't my favorite guy George Anthes there? I love that guy. Wasn't he a blow-in?
Wouldn't George be
Hey.
happy with this girl coming back on NCSI, wherever it's called, a Zebra or Zebra?
You just wish I just think about him a lot anyways.
Good guy.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, George.
Bill Topia. I had 2 years with him. He was a lot of fun too. Another blow-in.
He
Eileen
tell you
Donahue.
where the dog died nicely.
Eileen Donahue, I worked with her and I had a good time with her too. She brought a lot of money into our schools, and it's not perfect, but the inside is where it needs some work. I can't wait to, hopefully we have these debates in some place anyways. I hate the ones that we have when you go to one in Butler School and there'll be 10 people in the crowd and 8 of them work in the system.
Well, that was the
We don't
complaint
see
about the
enough
last Dracut election. It wasn't a debate, and it's a shame there wasn't a debate.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah.
Well, see, I think that the cable TV people fall down on their duty, I don't care what town it is, they should host a debate. And they don't want to do that.
Right. Right.
And what the
Because
hell, what's your freaking job, man?
Yeah.
You're the only thing the town has. Town doesn't have a newspaper, but they do have a local access channel.
Because back before the Sun would sponsor a debate for Drake, there'd be like 2 debates, and one would be run by, say, some citizens organization, the other run by the Lowell Sun.
You
But
get
this
two
time,
guys, you get like in Drake, you get Bogue and Zimney
yeah,
to sit down and be the moderators at a debate.
yeah.
And there's,
But
be a good show.
I still say if there had been a debate, the election would have gone another way. But that's
Yeah.
just my opinion.
Social media does
Yeah.
it all. And look at what this guy, John, does. I mean, been doing this for years. It's beautiful out, by the way, today, too, temperature-wise.
nice day. It's
Yeah,
going
it
to
is
go
a
to
nice
70.
day. Yesterday was kind of windy in the late afternoon.
Yeah.
I've already held signs for other people 2 times.
Well, you
Tom.
saw my comment. I said, "Where's the HOEY sign? You had a
well,
Finn sign and a."
yeah, I didn't
Who'd
have.
you have, Finn and who?
I've
Oh,
never,
Eric,
I've
yeah.
never had at large on my sign, so
Yeah.
obviously I got to get new signs. You know?
Sure.
But Harron Sign Company, Harrin.
Why does that
Yeah.
have to say at large? It's good enough.
That's
Don't
just
waste the money.
yeah, it's not. But listen, last time.
And you're changing your
Like-
colors too, right?
No, same colors.
Oh, I
I
thought
came
you
out.
said-
No, I,
Good, I
I
love your
finally
colors.
did
I
because
love your
it's
colors.
it's the same as Danny Finn's sign. Really, it's
Yeah.
But I've used them.
Yours are more bolder, I think. Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
I just know that I've used that sign for
I
the
already got
last.
a couple of sign
I
locations
say it's
for you.
between, right now it's between Belanger and Finn. Those are the two top contenders for that race.
Oh, you counting that Gendron girl out?
Yep.
Wow.
No, he didn't
I don't
count.
think so.
He didn't count Gendron.
He said the 2 it would be Finn and Belanger fighting that race.
No, he said Gendron, I think. But
Oh.
that's why.
No, I didn't say gender. I
You said Finn and Belanger.
Finn and Belanger. Those
Yeah.
are the two.
No, I think it's Finn or Gendron.
Yeah.
You know, it is an opinion show here,
Yeah.
folks, so that's what I believe. But don't forget, you don't pull papers to June, and it's not good to turn around, but there's people that can do that.
Couple of
They can
things. Again, I'm a Drake guy. I'm not a Lowell guy. I think the voters are not going to forget how the manager's contract. They're not going to forget the way they that district, how they voted Belanger in. Should have been a special election. I don't think people. I think there'll be a change.
And the tax increase.
Yeah.
Okay, comments from the audience. Hi, Ned. Hi, Ned, we miss your fire on the show. Hope you're well. Next comment. City Life, the best morning program in Merrimack Valley. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Put you in charge on Judgment Day. Bob is correct. The bottom 1,500 students at LHS, Lowell High School, would be better off in the trade school.
Yeah,
Interesting comment.
there's no
Thank you.
doubt. Well, we never know what goes on at the federal government and the federal level. Maybe someday someone will hear me and say, open up your military, especially the Army, infantry, if that's all. That's the lowest of the low, right? The people that have to go into the bush. Open it up, because what they did for me was incredible.
Right.
They helped me get my house. They helped me get a high school diploma. I went to Newbury Junior College to check a VA check. Just, there's all kinds of benefits you can get from being in the Army, and they can't get in the Army. Why?
Bobby, right
Why?
now, the military, the mighty military, is thinking about machine war. It's going to be machines at war.
You'll always need infantry, buddy. I'm telling you. You'll
I
always
richly
need it.
agree, especially after getting a glimpse of the Moscow parade. Do you see that Moscow parade,
No.
man? Oh, my God. I'll put it up on YouTube.
Oh.
Fantastic. I mean, they do it. The camera work alone. Those people the Russians know how to do camera work, man. I'll find the YouTube, put it up.
Sure.
Well, when we were children or kids, I like to say the word kids, but when we were in school, I'm not saying we got to go back to hitting children or giving out the ruler. I mean, come on, our age group, I don't know how many times you got it. I got it quite a bit in
We got the
life.
strap. We didn't get the ruler. in St.
Yeah, I
Peter's.
just got pieces of wood, sticks, whatever. But
They invented torture for Bobby.
no, but you remember you were afraid to go home.
Oh, gee, you had to go tell your parents.
Because you just you got yourself beat up in school. You got to go home and tell your parents why you got hit.
Yep.
But it is. It teachers to me were everything. I mean, don't forget, my poor mom, God rest her soul, she was 16 years old when she had me. How many times did that happen back in the future, right? I mean,
Yeah,
back
no, right.
and now the future, they're not even having kids, a lot of them, and maybe that's a
No.
good thing, but I don't see it that way.
Nobody's into relationships now. I know some young people. They hang out, they call it. They don't even go out on it. I can't tell you the last time I was at a wedding. I think it was 10, 15 years ago. My wife went to it, and I went to a wedding. Then nobody's getting married. I mean, it's
It's the same thing when you're voting, Tom, right?
Yeah.
Think about it.
yeah.
Look at Lowell, okay? We'll talk about Lowell for a second. You could bring up Drake's elections. What'd you get? 1,800 votes was the top vote getter, I think?
Yeah, well, actually,
Something like that.
Actually, I had 1493. That was the highest vote getter.
1,400 people.
Yeah.
And watch and see Lowell. You got to go out and find those 6,000 people that are going to vote out of 75,000 registered voters. Maybe a little more nowadays. But you got to go find them.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
It really is one of the hardest things when you go at large or citywide, the way we used to have our elections around here. And that's changed.
Yeah.
Now we got people. We had some woman, John, in the 4th district, I thought I seen she was going to run. I sent my number to her.
4th District, Johns?
Yeah,
Oh.
because if she's serious, I think she'll.
Her first name's Lisa.
I think she'll do really well.
And
Is she
And-
well
and come
known?
on the show.
This is the Moscow, it's not up on your
Is she a
screen.
well known person?
I think so. Well, she's worked like 35 years right on Central Street.
This is the
at our
Moscow
district.
parade I was telling you about.
Yeah.
And the camera work they did at this parade, because all of a sudden they'll show you all these trucks driving by, and it was President Xi and President Putin was sitting next to each other in the crowd, watching this. It's 2 hours and 2.5 hours long. I want to get some of the trucks going by, and here they are letting people out of the car. Come on, baby, get up there. And the camera works unbelievable. They have a camera everywhere.
They drive around with cameras in their car.
This might be Putin showing up. No, I think this is Xi showing up. And look at the street. You can't have a cup of coffee on that street, I'll tell you.
Huh.
But this was goes on for 2.5. It's the only place I saw was on YouTube. Fascinating parade. And here's the full assembly of everybody standing in the street. Tons of soldiers. So you said infantry. That's what brought me to mind, Bob.
Yeah.
This is the Russian I'm going to guess Russian infantry.
Your sister called me. I got to take this call.
Oh, she's probably out there, 10 or 7.
Hello. Okay. Want to get it, buddy?
Yeah, I'll get her.
So this was the Russian parade from last week. And just the different camera angles, they just kept changing and changing and changing. And I know
It's
how
amazing how they march, huh? It's like,
they like the goose step.
yeah. Look at that hat. And oh,
I never cared for that style hat. Here goes another big shot. You can tell Bobby lives in a new house. All the doors are open. This old house, you gotta close the doors or the heat goes right out the freaking window, man. So this is footage from the other day in the Russian parade. See if I can get some of the trucks.
so she's here 7 or 7:30, John, or 7, 8?
7 to 8.
Oh, she's here for an hour. Oh, I thought you only give
Well,
them a
I
half.
don't, whenever I have not talked to her. Bobby
All right.
made the arrangement.
Good morning. How are you? Good morning.
Well-
Come on, love. How are ya?
Good, honey. How are you?
Good, good, good.
Excited to see me?
Oh, I am. And my wife's I got to call my wife at 7 o'clock to wake her up to make sure she's up. She wants to watch you. Yes, you got a fan space. Sit in the middle. Look at him talking to his sister like that.
I'm going to guess there's got to be sound here too. Oh yeah, they're talking in Russian.
She's got her whites on and everything. Look at this.
All right. Can I just use a piece of paper to real
Торжественным маршем по Красной площади
So right at them or in the middle?
Академия материально-технического обеспечения имени генерала армии Хрулева. Возглавляет парадный расчет начальник Академии генерал-лейтенант Илгар Кахраманов. Подразделения тыла обеспечивают бесперебойное снабжение армии всеми необходимыми средствами для достижения победы. Более 100 офицеров тыла удостоены звания Героя Советского Союза и России. На Красной площади курсанты Михайловской военной артиллерийской академии. Возглавляет парадный строй генерал-майор Олег Егоров. Сегодня артиллерийские и ракетные части под командованием выпускников Академии своей огневой мощью приближают нашу победу. Из стен Академии вышло более 100 героев Советского Союза и Российской Федерации. В парадном строю военнослужащие женщины. Командует парадным расчетом подполковник Мария Митяшина. Большинство участниц парада являются продолжательницами офицерских династий. Мимо трибун проходит полк воздушно-космических сил России. Их представляют офицеры и курсанты военно-воздушной академии имени Жуковского и Гагарина. Возглавляет парадный расчет.
So we're back, and that was a great video, John. That was on Facebook, that video? So you found that?
No, that was on YouTube.
YouTube.
The Russian parade. And
Right.
earlier, at 7 o'clock, we go to break, I'll put the
Sure.
procession last night they had on Back Central Street.
I
down
saw
at St.
part of
Andrew's
that
Church.
earlier, yeah.
Good stuff.
So we have a new guest with us right now. Believe it or not, it's Bob Hoey's sister. And looking at it, you can't really believe that. But welcome, Charmaine. And Charmaine is Miracle Ear. And,
Correct.
I have to tell you, my wife has Miracle Ear. Great job. She can hear for the first time. This is her second set of hearing aids, and it's worked. And great service by Charmaine. But I knew Charmaine way back, when I used to sing to her.
Yes, you did. Never sent me flowers, but you did sing to me.
So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on
Introduce
this
yourself.
morning.
Talk a little bit.
Hi, so my name is Charmaine. I've been in the hearing care industry for 19 years, which I love. And I just want to talk a little bit about the importance of getting your hearing loss treated and also tested sooner than later. Like any part of your body that starts breaking down, you want to take care of it sooner than later. It's very important. I work for Miracle Ear in Tewksbury. So what the process is, we have people come in, we do a free hearing evaluation just to see what is going on with your ears. If there's any medical conditions, we refer you to an ear, nose, and throat specialist. We check your ears for wax. Once we find that you are a candidate, we do the proper fitting, make sure everything goes okay. And like I said, I've been doing it for about 19 years. And I enjoy what I'm doing because I'm helping people.
How did you get into this? I mean, like you say, would you start out there as an office girl? Did you go to school for this? Or how did you get involved?
So we have trained, I'm a licensed hearing instrument specialist in Massachusetts and New Hampshire. We are state board licensed. I was approached by a person that said, I think you would do great because you're great with people. And I started out, like I said, 19 years ago.
All right. And you worked your way up in the industry, as
I
they
did.
say. Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tom, recently my special woman of 50 years has been through a lot of medical procedures, but recently she had to take an ambulance over to Leahy Clinic also because of some crystals in her ear.
Wow.
And, and it made her ear ring. She could hear ringing in her ears, and it made her really dizzy. And we sat in there with 39 people in the emergency room 6 hours before we were seen. But once we were seen, they
Down
sent...
Burlington?
Yeah, but they sent so many specialists in to see her. By the time I left, I felt really impressed with Leahy Hospital, let me tell you, I did. Other than that...
6 hours you waited?
Yeah, it was that bad. It was so busy. 39 people were on stretchers, Michelle was one of them, inside the emergency room, waiting to be seen. And outside, I don't know how many were in the lobby. It was incredible how busy the place was, but the reason why I left so satisfied is all the specialists that they sent in to see her once they were working on her. And the first thing that came up was, have you had your ears checked? And that's why it kind of haunted you to come on to the show, because I think there's a lot of people that might have ringing in their ear or crystal problems. Sometimes
Tinnitus, correct?
yeah, all kinds of, really, I never realized how many things are affiliated with hearing, because I got great hearing. If you whisper, I can hear what you say. It's like,
What?
I hear you, buddy, believe me. But no, so go ahead.
And that's what it is. There's a lot of misconceptions about hearing loss because you can't see a hearing loss. There's no pain associated with it. Hearing loss is due to the aging process, loud noises, certain antibiotics, certain medical treatments. So it's not just due to the aging process, and that's why we recommend people to start getting the hearing tested at age 50 or sooner if you're noticing, like Bob said, with the ringing of the ears, tinnitus. The sooner we can catch it and get treatment, the better for you. We just want to make sure that, you take care of your body just like any other part, whether it's your yearly physicals or your eye exams. Your hearing is important. We've also seen in the studies lately, Maria Shriver just did a show recently about the effects of hearing loss going untreated with Alzheimer, dementia, short-term memory weakening. What happens is the brain starts shrinking, and that's where those, it affects your cognitive decline, your overall health. So it's very important to get your hearing tested.
What exactly is the ringing in the ears thing? It happens to me rarely,
So
but it
it's-
does happen.
Yeah, it's called tinnitus.
Oh, okay.
People hear different sounds. You might hear ringing. Some people might hear like an ocean wave or music or even people talking to them. There is no treatment for tinnitus, unfortunately. People feel it's in their ears, but it's more in the brain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I say, it doesn't last long, but I'll hear the ringing, and it might last 30 seconds, and it goes away, and then I might hear it again 3 months later or something. But it's
Yeah.
not like a consistent thing.
Yeah,
but
it's different for everybody, depending on the level of it. Yeah.
So look, I got a bunch of texts here I'm going to blow through, and then we'll go back to you guys. The first one is about Charmaine, and it asked this question. A question, are Q-tips good for the use in the ear?
No, just like your grandmother used to say, don't put anything in your ear bigger than your elbow. The best thing you can do is I would get it professionally removed by going to an ear, nose, and throat specialist or even your local walk-in to have them irrigate it. Q-tips just push in the wax further, it's not taking it out. Remember, you're pushing something in with the Q-tip, you're not pulling it out.
Okay, going back to when we were talking political stuff before you got here, Charmaine, nothing to do with you. I wonder if Senator Bernie Sanders was in attendance. I don't know where, but this is in the Wayback Machine. I can tell you what's going on at the federal level. They stole about $30 trillion over the past 25 years. 113K plus population in Lowell with 15,000 students. More than 10% of the city's budget goes to school. Teachers are not underpaid. And that's the last text back
I think
over
what
to
they're
you guys.
referring to, John, was that video you showed in Russia. That's what they're referring to Sanders about. That's what I think. you know?
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Makes sense.
Yeah.
I love when someone says teachers are not underpaid. They
So
might not.
Charmaine, if I'm not supposed to use Q-tips, I'm supposed to get irrigated, isn't there some kind of thing I can go over to like Walgreens or CVS
So
and
you
put it in
can,
my ear and then take a shower and will help drain it
Well-
out? Is there any product that why do I have to go to a walk-in to get irrigated? And when is there a thing I could buy at the local drugstore, just squirt it in my ear and then go take a shower and it will help?
you can, so it's called Debrox, Debrox. And what it does, it just drops. But the thing is, a lot of people just use the drops, and I've seen this over the years, but then they don't get the wax out. So the Debrox will soften and loosen up the wax, but it doesn't take it out because we have 2 bends in our canals. So sometimes the wax behind the second bend will just stay there unless you get it out. And just putting your ear underwater is really not flushing it out.
Oh.
Yeah, unless you take, like one of those little blue bulbs.
After
and-
7 o'clock, when we go to break, then I'll find a diagram of an ear and you can explain what's going on here. Because I'm puzzled. Okay, thank you.
You know, I don't know if it ever happened to you, Tom, but right across the street, the Rogers Scores with Jim Hall and Bob Gignac one day, and I had to hold on to the door handle because I was dizzy. And
Okay, now I've heard this happens to people.
I was starting to lean over, and I remember getting some wax removed the next day from my ears, and that's all it was. It was like vertigo, I think that was the word.
Yeah, I've heard of that. That's horrible with people. I've never had that happen to me, but I know I had a secretary that happened to a few friends of mine. It's awful. You know, and it just can come upon you like that, like it did with you, Bobby.
Yeah.
Question from the audience, and it says, are hearing aids covered by insurance? If not, what does it cost for a test?
So at Miracle Air, we do a free hearing test for everybody, just to get people in to get them tested. Some insurance companies will cover testing at other, like hospitals, but at Miracle Air, it's free. It depends on your insurance also. Unfortunately, insurance companies classify hearing aids as cosmetics. They feel it's a non-essential medical device, which it baffles me, because when you talk about the cognitive decline, Alzheimer, dementia, I feel hearing aids should be covered, but unfortunately, it's non-essential.
They covered my wife's, I know, when she got the hearing aids. That was amazing.
This is
A
the
lot of
last
money.
text. We're going to go to break. The last text, why a hearing aid is not covered. Charmaine just answered that.
Yeah.
They can
once
cost
again,
$7,000. Interesting. So we'll be back. Thanks.
essential medical device, which it baffles me, because when you talk about the cognitive decline, Alzheimer, dementia, I feel hearing aids should be covered, but unfortunately, it's not essential.
See, anyways.
morning, everybody, and welcome to the May 13th edition of City Life. It's going to be a beautiful day in the area today, I believe. It's going to warm up a little bit. With me this morning is my usual co-host, Bob Hoey, and we have his lovely sister, Charmaine, who is going to do a lot of talking about hearing aids this morning. And I, for one, I don't have the issue my wife did. She went to Charmaine, and everything worked out well. She has some bad hearing, as you know, my wife, and you did a great job with her. And so, Charmaine, if you just want to tell us a little bit. Bob, you want to say anything before?
Yeah, I do. Number one, since I brought my sister on here,
Yeah.
I have 5 sisters. I had 7 originally. 2 have passed away, and they're all pretty sharp, so I'm glad Charmaine's breaking the ice because I'm trying to get my sister Ronnie on here too, and maybe after she sees Charmaine, she might come on the show. I don't know why she's a little scared of me, maybe, but Sham lost her dad. We have the same mothers, just different fathers, and she lost her dad this year. And I'm sorry for your loss, Sham. We also lost a very close cousin in the past few days. Linda Newell Bergeron is her last name, her married name, and she was older than I was, but she was a character, and she could really sing, just like my sister Mickey that passed away, which is Sham's full sister. But we're all sisters and brothers. But I got 5 sisters left, and I'm going to pass it over to her right now. The reason why I think it's an important issue is because I've seen my wife, Michelle, going through all kinds of procedures, but she was rushed to Leahy Clinic in an ambulance because she was so dizzy she couldn't even stand, and there was some type of crystals in her ears. And I remember part of her treatment is make sure you get an ear exam. Go and get your ears checked, which is something I never did, Tom. So I said,
I'm going to
hey.
do 2 texts, Bobby, then I'm
Yeah.
going to go back to you. Okay. How is it hearing aids cost 5 times more than an iPhone? The second one has to do with the drone footage. Please explain what it is. Okay, last night, Steve McDonough, one of the movers and shakers over to St. Anthony's Church on Back Central Street, texted me and said, hey, we're going to have Our Lady of Fatima procession. And there's about 150 people in this procession last night. It started at the church, and it goes up the street, goes up Chapel Street, and all the way to Elm, goes down Elm to Back Central, and there's got to be 150 people in this. And so really, it's a great church event. They do it every year. And finally, we had a good weather day. Last year, I think it was raining like crazy. But this year, beautiful weather night, beautiful ceremony. Glad everybody showed up, and it's Back Central Street. It's about a block from here, but just down the street from us. So over to you, Bob.
Yeah, so if I ever needed hearing aids right away, I would go to the VA because I have a service-connected disability, and I might be able to save a few bucks, but they don't cover a lot of things, and hearing aids are probably one of them, but I'll let Sham talk about that. But just think of my medications. I do some insulin, and I do several different pills. One prescription's $90. I have another prescription that's $90. I just picked up another prescription for $30, and it adds up at the end of the year. You go, wow, I spend a lot of money on these medications. But hearing aids, let's get back to that right now.
What are you spending at Demolis's? You got to
I love
eat.
them, but listen, the Moelis, you get a really good bang for your buck. I don't mind spending my money at the Moelis. I'm glad you said that. I'll tell you why. I go to the manager, the guys in the red coats, all the time to tell them how great the staff is at the registers. And I'm telling you, we got freshmen in high school working there. Special kids. Unbelievable, the staff that guy hires. And what he does, I don't know, but they love him. They love their boss. How many people could say that? They all love their boss, huh? Think about it. Market Basket or Demolis. To me, I love spending my money there. But, Sham, why is it important just to have your ears checked? I never did it. Why should I go do it?
So it's really important to get your hearing tested, once again, like any part of your body that starts breaking down when you start noticing some issues with your hearing. You want to get it tested because the sooner and faster you get help for it, the better results you're going to get. Because I know there's a lot of people out there that might have hearing aids now that have spent thousands of dollars for them. They're not wearing them. They're in the drawer. And as the question asked about why hearing aids are so expensive, well, hearing aids can range from 1,000 and up, depending on the level of treatment or prescription. They're totally different than over-the-counter hearing aids that you see advertised. With an over-the-counter, you don't need a prescription, it's one size fits all. But with a prescription hearing aid, it's the technology, the prescription treatment that goes along with it. The reason they cost so much, depending on the certain levels, like anything out there, good, better, best, help, is the service that's provided also. So you're getting a hearing test, you're getting your ears checked for wax every 4 or 5 months, you're getting adjustments, cleanings. Most companies do it for the rest of your life. So that one initial sticker shock, when you look at it and you break it down over years, it's really costing you about $100 a month to treat your hearing loss. So it's, less than a cable bill or a cell phone bill. You have to decide what your hearing is worth.
During the break, you made an interesting comment, how people cease to function well when they're hearing us. You call it cognitive loss or something like that.
Yep.
Could you explain to the audience? So I go partially deaf, and I just shrink into myself. I don't talk to anybody anymore because I
Exactly.
can't hear them. I'm sick of saying
Yep.
what,
Yep.
because they get mad at me, and and then also some of my friends that are hard of hearing, they talk wicked loud. And I get a kick out of people when they're on the phone, they're talking wicked loud. And I'm there, why don't you just tell the person on the other end to speak up? By you talking louder on your phone is not helping
Nope.
the other person. Just tell them, hey, look, can you speak up a little louder on the phone? And but Charmaine, tell us what happens if your hearing
So
gets lost.
when you're not hearing properly, stimulation is not getting to the cochlea, which are the little hairs inside of your ears that sends all the sounds and signals up to the brain. And the brain is what does our hearing for us. The ears are just a tool to get the sounds and information up to the brain. So when the sound reaches the eardrum, which is the power source of our hearing, how loud we hear, okay, the sounds are then sent down the 3 tiny little bones to the cochlea. So the little hairs, which are 15 to 20,000 little hairs inside of the cochlea, they filter, purify the sound, sends all those sounds up to the brain, and then the brain will process
Okay, so
it.
let's just back up. This has, cochlea is the only
There's-
one I've saw that you said so far. So all the sound comes in through
Yep.
whatever this thing's called, the auricle.
The outer ear, which is the pinner, the sound comes in through
And then it goes down this tube
to the eardrum,
this is the
with,
eardrum.
which is a green, correct. That is the power. That's how loud we hear.
So where does wax build up?
The wax builds up in the ear canal, right
here?
over there. Correct.
Or here?
Nope, in the ear canal.
Just here.
And so the reason why some people build a lot of wax is whether you have like a narrow ear canal, you have a lot of hair in your ears, using Q-tips, wearing earbuds a lot, certain skin diseases, allergies can all produce wax. Everybody is different. Not everybody produces wax. So if
Okay.
there's any kind of wax in your ear, you want to get that removed. That will show a conductive hearing loss. If there's a hole in the eardrum, that's also a conductive hearing loss. That can be treated by an ear, nose, and throat specialist. But when it comes to the deterioration of the cochlea, the only help or treatment for that is to get
Cochlea is
stimulation.
this guy right here.
Correct.
And what is the cochlea?
So that the snail-shaped.
This purple guy
Yeah,
right
the
here.
purple guy, that's the cochlea. So inside of our cochlea, there's all fluid, and there's about 15 to 20,000 little hairs that are wrapped around the cochlea. Their job is to gather, collect all the sound that it receives from the eardrum. It filters, purifies it, sends it up to the brain, and then the brain will process what it receives from the cochlea. And that's when people start with the what did you say, turn that up, I didn't get that, can you repeat that, you never said that, or even responding completely different than what the conversation is. You might ask me for a cup of tea, and I was like, I don't know where the key is. And that's what happens. It's just not a clear, sharp signal to the brain.
So the sound comes in here, hits the eardrum. What are these two guys right here, the malleus and the
Those are the
incus?
3 smallest bones in the body, and what they do is they move back and forth, and that's what sends those sounds down to the cochlea.
So it picks up the sound from here, transmits it through these 3 bones. So it goes to
Correct.
this bone, this bone, this
Yep,
bone,
the
and then
stapes.
to the
Down-
cochlea.
Down to the cochlea, correct.
And then the cochlea sends its information out. This guy here,
Sends
the
it up,
cochlea
yep,
nerve.
It sends it up to the brain through that, the cochlear nerve.
What does the vestibular nerve do?
That there, I'm not 100% sure about
Okay,
that
then
one because
who
I'm only
can't
dealing.
know everything. Good, okay.
Yeah, I'm dealing with just the cochlear and the stimulation to the brain.
So before I put you guys back on, so when you have a wax buildup, it's right here.
Exactly,
And that's why you need to get it, what you called irrigated.
correct.
And that should happen like once a year, you think?
Well, everybody's different. Usually when you go to the doctor looks in your ear on your yearly physical.
Yep.
And most times they might tell you, you're starting to build up some wax. And a lot of times they don't because they're not in the medical field to treat wax removal.
Okay, cool. Putting you guys back on. If you
So
want
that's
us
why they
back up,
check
let me know.
areas when I go to my GP, general practitioner, he checks the ears, that's what he's really looking for.
They're not looking for wax per se, they're more looking to see if the eardrum, looks
Right,
healthy.
but he'll say to me, everything looks good there,
Yeah.
so he would tell me if I had a wax buildup, that's
Right.
when, yeah.
You know, on this show, Sham, we talk about the Greater Lowell Technical High School quite a bit. Don't give up your age, but when did you graduate from that school?
1987.
1987. So like Gina, did she graduate with you too?
Yeah, Gina
Gina is Marty Laurie's niece, sells real estate. But what I want to know out of you is what did you learn at the Greater Lowell Technical High School? I think it was cosmetology, if I remember
Correct,
correctly.
yes.
Did that help you in any way, shape, or form in the business you are now?
No, you know what? I always wanted to work with hair and makeup, and after doing it for a few years, it just wasn't in me. But this field I'm in now, where I'm helping people, and when you help people and you see the response on their spouse's face or their children's face, and to get their mother or their dad or their child to hear again, it's just a great reward, and I love what I do. I'm helping people. I'm giving them quality of life. Sometimes we can also help people realize that there's more going on with their ears than just hearing loss. We've known people, we've tested them and sent them to specialists where there's been brain structural damage. There could be a tumor that we've also caught and helped people with more serious issues.
And what else did I want to bring up today, Tom, if you don't mind?
No, go ahead, Bob.
Tonight, it's Tuesday, and we go out on what they call the Monday Night Dinner Club, which John created over here, okay? And we're going out to a spot that I know you frequent out there on Bridge Street, the Plaza Sears, I think. Sear.
Yeah.
And the town, what's the tavern at the?
Abreu's. Tavern on the line is Abreu's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sear, we're going to Sear tonight. Have you had Sear's food? Have you tasted it?
I have.
Have you?
And I'm telling everybody, it's mixed reviews. I didn't have a better, it was a great meal, great meal. Me and the other couple, the couple that was with Brenda and I, fantastic meal. Bring your wallets. Some people, but you get what you pay for.
If
And
the
that's what I
food's
always
good,
say.
if the food's good, do you know if they have chicken palm? Because that's
I
like,
actually think they do,
I
Bob.
hope-
I think they do. Yeah.
Good, because I'm not a really a steak man,
Yeah.
So,
They have an awesome chicken palm.
Didn't you
Yeah.
pick the place, Bob?
pardon me?
Didn't you
Yeah, I
pick-
picked it because I heard some good things about the food. I heard the word pricey, but I just care about the quality of the food, and I'm hearing it's good, so
Yeah.
I can't wait till.
And again, you go to social media and some people love it, some people hate it. I've had 2 or 3 people go there that loved it. They didn't have an issue with it. You've been there. You have.
I've been a couple
Yeah.
of times. The first time, like you said, it was a mixed review, and
Yeah.
I gave it another shot. The second time, it was really good.
Yeah.
The food was really good. Yeah.
So Charmaine, question from the audience. So what causes someone to be born deaf? Can you speak to that? And if you can't know everything.
So her hearing loss is also hereditary, so there's somewhere down the line that there could have been some hereditary hearing loss for that person. Once again, there's so many reasons for hearing loss. It's just not due to the aging process. I fit people in their 20s. My oldest client is 106 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, and she's awesome.
You can tell some stories.
Yeah, so it's not just due to the aging process. It could be people that were prone to a lot of ear infections growing up, certain antibiotics, chemo, radiation. It's not just an age-related issue. People that worked in construction, landscapers, police officers at details, firefighters, noise-induced. So a lot of people will wait till their hearing gets bad before they come and get it tested. it's unlike cataracts. With cataracts, they wait until it's bad. Well, we're gonna work on your cataracts when it gets bad, but the hearing loss you want to catch sooner than later, because what people don't understand is the longer you wait and the more deterioration inside of your cochlea, hearing aids can't fit every loss. And that's why there's a lot of people that are unsatisfied with hearing aids, is because they waited too long. And it's also the level of technology, just like your prescription eyeglasses. You need a prescription. So when people don't get the proper prescription or the strong enough, powerful hearing aids, and that's where the money factor comes into, that's when people are dissatisfied with hearing aids, like Tom said about food or any product. You get what you pay for. You know, hearing aids are expensive, but
And my wife started out with Miracle Ear, and I'm not going to mention the place she went to after, but it just didn't work out. And we went back to Miracle Ear, and you could tell the difference of service, and not even when you're not there. There was another gentleman there one time that helped us out, and the staff's always great. But you get what you pay for, and you spend money on. Say they said $7,000. You might spend $7,000 on a vacation if you go to Vegas or somewhere.
Have you bought
but
golf
this is for your
clubs?
hearing aid. What?
Have you bought golf clubs?
Yeah, I have. When I was golfing, yeah, very expensive.
You know, Sean, less than a football field away on Elm Street, right up here, there's a gentleman, Dan Correa, a little older than me.
Good guy, Dan.
Great guy.
He loves Charmaine.
Yeah.
I really believe, and I still say it to this day, I think Danny can hear. I think he just goes to see you and say hi. But I told him I'd mention his name today because he's a big fan of yours, just so you know, Danny Correa.
yeah. I have over 800 clients, which, like I said, I love. My job is to help people, to treat people, and it's so life-changing. You really don't understand. And again, getting back to the price, there's all different levels of treatment. So I know a lot of people struggle in background noise, with family groups and gatherings, birthday parties, holidays. That's when you need to get a proper prescription hearing aid. And over-the-counter is not going to treat certain hearing loss. It's more from mild hearing loss of people that just need amplification. But we need to get stimulation to that cochlea so that you can get clear, sharp signals to the brain.
And at times, it can be just one ear. Do you need a hearing aid for it? Do you have to get both?
So the only time that you would fit a person with one hearing aid is if one ear is completely gone, there's no treatment for it, or
Right.
the other ear is just so good that they don't need a hearing aid. But it's very important to get balanced hearing, like Bob was mentioning about Michelle with the vertigo. Bringing balanced hearing back into your brain is going to help with your overall balance. Most people that I test, they look like this. I can hear you, which is the eardrum, but I don't understand you, which is the cochlea. So they're walking around like this all day when they're really supposed to be in balance like this.
So I'm going to do the announcements as quick as I can here. If you want an announcement on City Life, just send me a text. Today is the 13th of May. So if you go over to Lowell Senior Center, you're going to have stuffed shells today. And then in Chelmsford, they're going to have meatloaf, mashed potatoes, carrots. That sounds like yummies. I think Chelmsford's got us beat today. Sounds like a tasty stop. Rodney Elliott's having a party this week, Thursday, May 15th, 5:30 to 7 p.m. at the China Star Restaurant, 1733 Middlesex Street. Love that restaurant. Always a good stop. Danny Finn's having a party the end of the month. Campaign fundraiser for Dan Finn for City Council District 3, Thursday, May 29th, 6 to 8 p.m. at Cobblestones. Moving right along. Let's over to St. Michael's Church. And they want you, I'm going to hit the minus sign so I get it to fit on the screen. Get rid of your stuff. If you're cleaning out your house, you got a lot of you got a lot of nice clothes, but they just don't fit anymore, and you want to have a good home. Bring them over to St. Michael's Church, and they'll find a new home for them, and that's happening all month long. And I suggest you call them up. There's a phone number down the bottom here. You can email them. So just take your fancy phone out of your pocket, take a picture of this slide, so you can get rid of some clothes you're sick of having around the house. This guy, his name is Jeff Kuna. He's a WRKO in Boston. That's quite the following. He's going to, he's trying to get this, I got to hit the minus sign so it fits. Come on, okay. And this Saturday, audit the legislature rally, May 17th, 10 to noontime. So If you're interested, I'd like to see you out there. Vesna Noon's having a party, and a fundraiser to support Vesna Noon City Councilor at Large at the Sampilio Meese Restaurant, 450 Chelmsford Street, Saturday, May 24th, 7 till midnight, $50 a person. And they'd like you to RSVP, so you can call Sam Bowe, his phone number's there, and Celia, the phone number's there too, so hope to hear from you soon. Neighborhood meetings. These are all the neighborhood meetings that the Lowell Police Department is aware of. So wherever you live in Lowell, whether it's Centerville or up in the Highlands, Belvedere, back Central, there's plenty of neighborhood meetings, so you can go to your neighborhood meeting. The next one is going to be the Back Central Neighborhood Association, and that's May 15th at 7 p.m. I've gone to that plenty of times. It's a good take. Okay, if you got cancer, you know somebody has cancer, and you want to have, they have a mass over to the Immaculate Conception Church, a healing mass in honor of Saint Peregrine.
Peregrine.
Say it again, Bob?
Peregrine.
Peregrine. I should have you every day. Peregrine. Saint Peregrine, patron saint of cancer patients, and they're going to have a mass Wednesday, May 28th. Every Tom, Dick, and Mary is welcome to go to this mass over the Immaculate Conception Church at 144 East Merrimack Street. Corey Robinson's having a party. Whoop, how many times I hit that guy? Where's plus? Okay, Corey Robinson's having a, Together We Make a Difference. And it's going to be hosted by Zoe Dzinku, Anthony Late, and Monica Tyree. And his party's going to be at the Dom Polsky Club. And Friday, May 30th, 5:30 to 9:30 p.m. And be a good time, good guy. Corey Robinson, God bless him, and hope to see you over there on the 29th. No, I'm sorry, the 30th, Friday the 30th of May. Somebody needs prayers. These gals are fantastic. The Monastery of St. Clair, consider going over to, just call them up, leave them a voicemail. Oftentimes they answer the phone. So they'll pray for whatever you need prayers for. Great group of sisters. And we're going to get, this guy's supposed to come in, talk about big trucks driving out in Chelmsford, how noisy they are. And school's going to be ending. This is out from the town of Tewksbury. And their last day of school is the 17th, but everybody's been bragging to me when they get out of school, like Lowell High gets out, the graduating class gets out pretty soon. And that's all the announcements. Back over to you guys. Thanks.
Welcome back. So, what else?
Well, I could say
Okay,
this,
Bob's
Tom.
ready.
Having my sister here today, it just, I've been through so many medical procedures in the past year and a half between my wife and myself that my younger siblings, I want you to know this, get a colonoscopy. Make sure you get one. My dad, not Charm's dad, my dad died of colon cancer. So whoever had my father, make sure you get checked. Colonoscopies do not hurt. Men in my family, I don't know, we've been afraid of surgeries. I've never had a surgery. Probably needed one in my shoulder a few times, but I never had one. I never had an ear exam, Tom. I was that type of guy. I just, like my dad, didn't believe in doctors, wouldn't go to a doctor. I don't care how sick he got. And me, I've had about 5 colonoscopies now because it's important to be checked out. And your hearing, I never realized how much is involved with hearing until my wife Michelle had a problem with this dizziness and ringing in the ears, and there's something to do with crystals, and even physical therapists can help her because they lay her down and move her head a certain way. But it doesn't hurt to get these exams. If you have to pay for it out of your pocket, that's one thing, but it's important to get checked. Make sure you get a colonoscopy, and I don't want to commit to getting my ears checked, Tom, yet, but I think I should get my hearing checked.
Yeah, I mean,
I encourage everybody, just like your physicals, just go get your ears tested. It's a starting point, it's a baseline, but there's other conditions that could be noticed in this hearing test. You know, some other treatment that might be able to help you.
Yeah, like I say, people just put things off, and that's, I believe it or not, my wife will tell you I don't. If I feel there's something wrong with me, I want to get to a doctor, right? Because I'd be nip it in the bud. I mean, and that's when they discovered I had cancer in 2006. Doctor said, "You talk about early detection." I never had a treatment. It was just the way they caught it in time. They monitored it, and it just got out of my system. It was just amazing how it happens. And Bob, June 5th for me. He said about the colonoscopy. It's all scheduled for me on June 5th. I go every 5 years or 3 years, wherever they tell me to go. But another important thing, people just, I think they're afraid there's going to be something wrong with them. That's what it is. I mean, you just,
But the other thing too, Tom, is with hearing loss, you can't see it. You can still hear, so it's not that you're deaf, it's called hard of hearing. Deaf means you don't hear anything. Hard of hearing is you're just not understanding what people are saying. So we'll say, you're mumbling, you're talking from behind, you're walking away from me, you're not talking to me. Those are all signs that you're losing your hearing, because the range for hearing speech clearly doesn't matter if somebody's 40 feet in front of you, 40 feet behind you, 40 feet on either side of you. That's the range. If you look at a classroom, the teacher in the front's having no difficulty hearing the student in the back unless they have a hearing loss. The same thing with students that do have hearing loss, they have them sit up front. So the range for normal hearing is 40 feet in any direction. And the reason why people say, well, look at me when you're talking to me, is because they're also getting a visual. You can see that I'm saying pest, not test. And that's what it is. It's more of the consonant sounds that people struggle with when they're starting to lose their hearing.
I tell my friend Wally Milanazzo, you know him? I tell him to get his hearing checked all the time. I don't think he'll get it checked, because he really does love himself. He's a great guy, though. You know Wally, right?
yeah.
Yeah, Wally's a great guy.
Yeah. So,
But
get your hearing
I
checked, Wally.
encourage everybody, just get a screening. At most hearing facilities, the hearing test is free, and some insurances will cover the hearing test. So.
But your hearing test is for you, so if people
Yeah.
walking off the street.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So we do a hearing test. If we find that you do have a hearing loss, we'll be more than happy to work with you. But if you don't, what we do is we schedule you for a yearly checkup and reevaluate it, and just look for the deterioration. Keep on track of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure like there are some cases worse than others. You have minor cases too, I'm sure, where they just don't need the strong. Because you'll sometimes see the ads, and it'll say $600 for Miracle Ear, but that's probably the best case scenario where your hearing isn't that bad. And I think people, $600. No, it's not that way. The worse you get, the more it costs.
So it starts with mild, moderate, severe, moderately severe to profound for hearing loss. So of course, somebody who has a milder hearing loss, they don't need all the bells, whistles, technology. But the longer people wait, the harder it is to treat, because you have to have a strong enough prescription to reach the deterioration. Just like with your eyeglasses, you can't go to CVS and buy readers.
The cheaters, they call them.
Yeah, the cheaters. You just can't. You're cheating yourself, honestly. Yeah. That's why we have different levels, and that's why there's different prices. So it's based on the person's hearing loss.
And you say you have like 800 clients?
I have built.
I've been out to your store, out in Tewksbury there, and you have this nice secretary there. And now, is it just you or have other people? When I'm there, it seems it's just you and your secretary. Do you have other technicians? Is that what you call the technician? What do you call the hearing?
So we're licensed hearing specialists.
Okay.
Okay. So we have my PCC, which is my secretary, Joni, up at the front desk, which great personality. Everybody loves her. She's very friendly. She'll make you feel very warm and welcome. And then they just put another consultant in my office with me, because I've just gotten so busy that I see 15, 20, 30 people a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of more people are getting more informed about hearing loss, especially, like I said, with the news channels and their doctors. A lot of doctors are referring their patients to get their hearing tested now that we're learning more about not just being able to hear, but like I said, with hearing loss, like John said, is people tend to withdraw from certain environments, anxiety, depression, limited social skills. That's when people start sitting back and you just see them nod in their head. And then a lot of children will bring their parents in, and they'll say, well, I think, something's going on with my mom, and they think it's more like Alzheimer dementia, where in fact it's just hearing loss. Their brain's just not getting a clear signal, so when they respond something completely different what was said, they're like, Mom or Dad, they're starting to lose it. But it's not, it's just they're not hearing clearly.
You even have, do you have children? Meaning young kids that have hearing loss? I've heard of that. In fact, I know one guy that one of his children had bad hearing when they were 7 years old, and they had to work on it,
So
do you have a lot of that?
We don't treat under 18 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we don't do the pediatric. That's something more you would go to, like, an ear, nose, and throat specialist or to Boston to see, exactly what's going on and why.
Okay.
So this is more with the sensorineural hearing loss, when it's more the cochlea that, once those nerves are gone, they're gone. They don't grow back. There's no surgery. There's no medication. The only thing that we can do to help you is by getting fit with a hearing aid to get the stimulation into that cochlea to provide those signals to the brain. Yeah. As I
Coming
mentioned,
from
I
the
have people
audience.
in their 20s up to 106.
The prep is definitely easier with the pills instead of the drink that's on the colonoscopy.
I never knew there were pills.
Yeah,
No,
there's
for the drink.
something new.
But speaking of which, is there any pill any vitamins you should take for help your hearing?
Once again, with hearing loss, it's just the deterioration.
No, to keep your hearing healthy.
No,
Okay.
it's the same thing with tinnitus. You'll see certain prescriptions, like anything out there, but there's no cure for tinnitus.
Okay. So this device that you go to the hearing aid store, and they're going to sell you a device that fits kind of in here. Tell us. So
there's two types of
what is
hearing-
it? What does it do?
So there's two types of hearing aids. One is a BTE, which means behind the ear, okay, where it hooks on the top of the ear, so you have the hearing.
I've seen those. Never knew what it was.
Yep, so that's a BTE, and then you'll have a small little wire and then a receiver that goes inside of the ear. And then you have what we call an ITC, which is in the canal, and it's the little small ones that you see that just pop right inside of your ear.
Yeah.
So there is a difference between the two. One, I find with the behind-the-ear hearing aid, you get much better sound quality because you have directional microphones, which helps a lot in background noise. A lot of people want the small, tiny ones that go inside of the ear for more cosmetic reasons.
Well, you got long hair. Most women have long hair, so this woman, I'm going to
But-
guess they want the one that's more effective.
I'm telling you, people care more about cosmetics than hearing, unfortunately. Absolutely. It baffles me. I've had so many people say, I'd rather go deaf than let somebody know I'm wearing a hearing aid, and they don't realize it. I had a double ear infection, and when my hearing dropped, it was scary. I'm not going to lie. It was scary. My husband was screaming at me saying, you need to get your hearing tested. You need a hearing aid. But it was just I had a double ear infection, but everything sounded muffled. I was putting the volume of the TV up to like 60, where I normally listen to it at 10. So I know myself, my hearing, my eyesight, any part of my body is very important to me.
I know two people in my life that I knew that had. One still has bad hearing, and you're right, they're in the drawer. He doesn't wear them. This guy's 90 years old, and he could, they just don't want to wear them. I don't know what it's all about. I mean, is it the vanity thing, like they say? Is that what they are?
So some could be the vanity, but the other thing too is with a hearing aid, it's a commitment. You need to wear it when you're ready to start your day to the time you end your day. It's not something you put in when I'm only going to go out with Mary on Saturday, or I'm going to see my kids on the weekend. The hearing aid provides stimulation to the brain, and when you bring your brain back up into balance and the brain is hearing nice, clear, and sharp, it likes it. However, when you only wear it when you're going out and you're introducing your ears to noise now with the hearing aid, it's gonna sound different. It takes your brain 4 to 6 weeks, no matter what hearing aid you go with, to acclimate to wearing it. Because with the deterioration that's been so slow and gradual, and then we bring you back up into balance, the brain is like, what is going on? So you don't wear them all week, then you go to a restaurant and you're getting all this noise. Well, the first thing your brain wants to pick up is noise. And you're having a hard time. You're like, why did I get these? Why am I wearing these? They don't work. because you have to commit to wearing them at least 12 to 16 hours a day. The other thing too, I hate to say it, but it comes down to price again, is when you go to a less costly hearing aid, that's more amplification than a prescription that's going to treat your hearing loss. And that's where the price factor comes in. Really does.
On the lighter side of the thing, from the audience, we have a lot of comedians. Will consuming donuts help with long-term hearing problems? I'm sure that's just to make people smile.
Well, diabetes is another cause for people to have hearing loss. Absolutely.
Wow.
Yes.
Does hearing, you say all of a sudden you give me a hearing test and it's a little off, whatever. Does hearing improve ever, or is it for life once you lose your hearing?
Nope. So the deterioration in the cochlea, that's permanent.
Permanent,
So what
okay.
happens is the hairs fall into the cochlear fluid.
Right.
So those little hairs inside of our cochlea, they're floating back and forth in the fluid, just like seaweed in the ocean. They're not attached to the lining. Your cochlea is about the size of a pea. It's very tiny. Once those hairs are gone, those nerves, they do not grow back.
Could they not get worse? Could they stay the same? Say if you get the hearing, could they stay the same? Like, I'm going to give you an example. I've been wearing eyeglasses since I was 4 years old. The last 3 or 4 years, I haven't had a chat. I go every year to get my eyes tested. Haven't had the prescription changed because he said it's basically the same as last year.
Yep.
Can it stay the same, in other words, or will it?
So we always do a yearly screening on our patients, once a year. And sometimes you'll see some deterioration, but that could be health reasons, whether they went through chemo, radiation, head trauma, falling can cause more deterioration. The hearing aids cannot stop the deterioration. It can slow it down a little bit, but due to the aging process, those nerves are still gonna deteriorate. But everybody's different. I could test somebody in their 80s that has better hearing than myself. Everybody is different. It's not just age-related.
Yeah.
It's the people that worked in the mills and factories. We start losing our hearing at age 30, but it's so very slow and gradual, we get used to it. But if you worked in an industry where there was a lot of noise, so then you have the noise and then the aging process, that's where you're going to see a lot more deterioration in someone that never subjected the ears to noise.
Yeah.
This message is from Jeannie Balkus, and she's grateful that you came today. That's her second comment. Very informative show today. It's really a shame where hearing and hearing aids are such a quality of life issue that insurance companies are not mandated to provide coverage. I think there needs to be legislative pressure and legislative filed for insurance companies to provide coverage and change insurance regulations.
I agree.
Good point.
It is so sad when I do the testing and I'm able to
Thank you, Jeannie.
put the hearing devices in the patient's ear and they just love how they're hearing, and then they see the cost of them, which is 5 different levels of prescription, and they're like, I can't afford it. But we do have the Miracle Ear Foundation for those people that cannot afford hearing aids. If you qualify, Miracle Ear does provide free hearing aids for those that cannot afford treatment.
Well, do you have a payment plan too?
We also have a payment plan.
Okay.
Yes,
All right.
we do. But
I mean, because, yeah.
once again, insurance companies, we fight with them all the time. We send letters. Insurance companies, they just classify it as cosmetics, a non-essential medical device, and it's baffling to us. It's really heartbreaking. It really is, because it's a medical necessity.
It must be, it depends on the insurance, because I tell you, Brenda's, I think I paid $200. They covered everything. I don't know if it was the state insurance that she had or whatever, but it was fantastic.
So, yeah,
it must depend on the insurance company. Some cover some don't cover the health insurances. That's what I'm trying to get at.
They
yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
So Blue Cross Blue Shield FEP will provide $2,500. The WellPoint GIC, I believe, is $3,400, where it used to be
Wow.
$1,700. So that's more like state and federal workers. But a lot of insurance companies, we have a script: no coverage, no coverage. Don't even try to check on it, because my secretary will check all insurances. If there's $200 to be had, she's going to get it for you.
How about Mass Health? I'm just curious.
Mass Health, I believe, has their own providers they work with.
Okay.
But the same thing with Mass Health. I have so many people coming in with Mass Health, and they don't know where to go, and they can't get answers from Mass Health of who takes Mass Health insurance. There was a few that were in downtown Low, but they're no longer working with Mass Health, and I'm not sure why.
Bobby, do they? I remember when I was a kid at St. Peter's. John went to St. Peter's down the street here. I remember getting our ears tested in school. Did they do that?
Yeah,
in the public
we
school
did
system?
that. I don't
Okay.
know if they do it anymore, but I
All right.
remember having
Yeah.
ear testing. Yeah, as a kid, we did that.
Yeah, I had it tested as a
You
kid.
had to listen to a little
Right.
noise, and
Yeah.
you tell them, yeah. I used to just keep going, yeah. Because sometimes it tricks you, you know, it's weird. It's a rough test. It's a different test. But I think that's what I wanted out of this show is just, especially my family, you know, my dad got colon cancer at 59, and he passed away at 63, lived 4 years with a colonoscopy bag and all that type of stuff. And you need to be checked. I remember my grandfather was never checked, lived to 84. You know, it's just, my grandmother only lived to 75, heart troubles. You know, nowadays they can almost cure any heart trouble if you get there early enough. My favorite place, if I have a heart problem, I want Leahy Clinic. I don't care what people say. Boston, if I have cancer, Boston. That's, you know, Faulkner Hospital in Roxbury, down in that money area, Tom, you know.
Yeah.
Route
Brookline,
9,
that-
yeah,
yeah,
down that
yeah.
way. They're tremendous. I mean, that's all you want. You want your family member saved. And what we need to do, I know I'm the oldest one, get checked. I know I have a few, I got 5 brothers. Like I said, I had 7 sisters. I got 5 of them left. We all need to be checked. And I think I was taught we don't need doctors, and that's not true. You know, I know
But
some.
nobody went to a doctor way back when. I don't remember. I remember my kids. We had pediatricians for our kids.
Yeah.
I don't remember my mother, unless I was really sick, going to a pediatrician when I was, you know, it's all changed. Everything's changed now. Now you go to the doctor for a sniffle for crying out loud, and it's all the age, how it works. But I mean, we survived, you know. And you talk about the what am I looking for?
Hereditary.
And you find that in the hearing too. Like for example,
Absolutely.
my family, after my mother was blind, not blind, but couldn't see. My brothers all wore glasses. Not one of my boys wears glasses, and it's funny. It must after their mother. You know, it's just you know, it all depends. You know, so. And Bob, you say you had 7 sisters.
Yeah,
2 passed.
Yeah, 2
And
passed.
no
away.
brothers.
Oh, no, I got 5 brothers.
Oh, okay.
That's why I'm hoping today they hear me. If you haven't had a
Good.
colonoscopy, all of them are close to 50, or above
That must
50.
be quite a family reunion.
You know, we have. Did you go see Gary Friday night? Our brother Gary play.
I went to go see Gary's show, and it was one of the best
That's right,
shows.
Gary. That's right, I forgot about Gary,
He
yeah.
wrote a song for my mother, and I'll tell you, there was not a dry eye.
Where
in
was
the
he
place.
Friday night?
He was at the Tupelo in Derry, New Hampshire.
all right,
Yeah.
Oh, but the song that they should have had, he should have been in the top 100, is "Who's Your Daddy."
Yep, that
That's
is
my
another great
favorite
one.
song. That's my favorite song.
Yep,
I had to say that. Gary made that's my favorite song of all time from Gary.
yeah.
Yeah.
Not the boot mill.
No. Oatmeal sandwich is okay, but nothing like
No.
when he mentioned Jerry Springer. It's the best song I ever heard, and it really didn't go anywhere. He's worked. Gary's just a worker. That's what he is. Does tremendous.
But we both had great dads, Bob. We really
Oh no, I
did.
hear you.
Awesome
I used to
dads.
love saying, "Dad, I tried to hug your father." He said, "I'm not your father."
Yeah, I remember you told
And
me
I'd
the same
always
one.
try to hug him. Oh yeah, we had a lot of laughs. Man.
And I loved your dad. What an amazing
Red,
man.
Red
Yeah.
Lemieux. Red Lemieux. He's a good mechanic for McCullen Cement Company there.
Yeah.
He was their mechanic, diesel
Yeah.
mechanic, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to make him run. I could chase him. I want to hug you, Dad. Give me a hug. You're not my son. That was my favorite. I'll remember that about your dad forever. Yeah.
He's a great
But no, it's important to get checked. It really is. I mean, and all kinds of things. And dental, that's another one, you know. When I was a child, I lived my younger days, Shaughnessy Housing Project, and I remember being brought down across from Lowell High School. You go to a dentist there. I'm not sure if they were all sober either. You go in there and they never fixed your teeth. They just pull them. That's how I started off my life. They just kept pulling my teeth till I didn't have any teeth left in my mouth. I never went to the dentist. I hated the dentist. I was afraid. My father don't go to doctors. He don't go to dentists. Why should I? It's all learned behavior. You know, it really is. You got to get checked. You have
Yeah.
to.
And the testing process is simple. We check your ears for wax, make sure it's not going to interfere in the testing. You're in the booth for about 15 minutes. We do an ear conduction, we do bone conduction. If those scores don't line up, I stop the testing, I refer you to an ear, nose, and throat specialist. If everything looks okay, we do word recognition. We see what words, what consonant sounds you're struggling with. There's a lot of information. It's overwhelming, but by the end of the testing, you're going to know exactly what's going on with your ears. Whether you're ready for hearing aids, you're almost there, or I need to refer you to an ear, nose, and throat specialist. So it's beneficial just for your overall health, well-being. The same thing with driving. If you have a fire truck or ambulance behind you and you're not in balance, you're not sure if that truck is on the right side of you or the left side of you, it's dangerous because you don't know where it's coming from. Do I pull to the right? Do I pull to the left? Smoke detectors that you can't hear.
Well, and I know my wife, she has a bad hearing, and you don't sleep with them. And there's been times when the smoke alarms have gone off and she hasn't even heard them. I'll tell her, you didn't hear the smoke alarms go off.
Yeah.
It was an accident type thing, and nothing like it wasn't a real fire. I said, God, but because you can't sleep with, there's 3 S's, right? Swimming, sleeping, or is there a third S? You can't swim with them, obviously.
Can't swim.
Can't sleep.
Can't sleep with them. You don't take a shower.
That must be the
Yep.
3 S's. That must
Yep.
be it, yeah.
So, comments from the audience, people are better.
Ate better.
People ate better back in the day, not so much processed food like nowadays. And this one says,
Well, RFK is going to change that.
what's the price range, please? The cheapest, the most expensive, and the average?
So with hearing aids, a prescription hearing aid, you're starting at a basic hearing aid. You're looking at about $1,500 and up. The most expensive hearing aid, you're looking at about $8,000. Yeah. Hearing aids get smarter, they don't get cheaper, depending on the level of technology. Like I mentioned before, is most people struggle in background noise, or people struggle in church, auditoriums, high ceilings, acoustics. When you start going down, a basic hearing aid is going to fit more of a mild hearing loss. So the stronger prescription you need, that's where the technology, the prescription, and the treatment comes in, and that's why the cost goes as high as it does. The other thing you have to remember too is, I know with myself, is all of your future office visits are free of charge, where every 4 months we clean and check the hearing aids, check your ears for wax.
So $8,000's the top. What's the average?
Average, I would say between $5,500 and $6,000 is average.
Good
Yeah.
answers, thank you. And when you look at whatever your hobby might be, you need your hearing 24/7. Oh, I just got a 1,000-inch big screen TV and it cost me $1,000. You can't hear the doggone.
Can't hear it.
What is the price of hearing your grandchildren say, "I love you, Grandpa"? What's the price? What's it worth?
And that's what I say.
People
Only
at the cemetery, you can take it to the cemetery with you, but you better enjoy listening to your grandchildren.
And that's what I say to people. You have to determine what your hearing is worth. And believe me, I like to drive a Maserati. I can't afford one. But something is better than nothing. So if I can encourage people today is, even the basic is still going to provide stimulation to your cochlea. It's going to help you. Now, is it going to work in all different environments? No, it's not. But the more you wear the hearing aids and your brain acclimates to that, it definitely will be better. So some treatment is better than none. And the longer you wait, the harder it is to treat, and that's where the cost factor comes in, and people don't understand that.
And they must be coming out every year with newer, better, and innovative,
Like
hearing
you-
aids. It's,
Like you said, the
You get what you pay for.
new iPhones, the new TVs, technology just keeps getting better. A lot of the hearing aids have Bluetooth capability.
Yeah, Brenda, she hits the phone, goes to her ears. She doesn't
Yeah.
have to go like this. She
Same
goes
thing
right
with the
to-
TV.
Yeah.
Instead of people wearing those, and please, one thing I want to tell you, anybody wearing TV ears, please stop. It's the worst thing you can do. It's like these kids wearing headphones, listening to music. You're putting the headphones on, watching TV 3, 4, 5 hours a day, and you're getting a blast of volume into your ears, which is going to cause more deterioration a lot faster than the aging process. With the new hearing aids today, you can stream your television directly into your hearing aids, just like your iPhone. So younger people, when you go to the gym, you don't need the iPods. You have your hearing aids in, you can stream your music when you're working out, and you can listen to the person next to you.
And some of us were very lucky. The human body, to me, is unbelievable, because I've listened to the loudest music. I've been in concerts my whole life, all kinds of construction equipment, from jackhammers to compressors to nailing guns. I've heard all kinds of loud noises, and my family constantly tell me I have the best hearing around. Some of us are lucky when it comes to hearing.
What protection, Charmaine? What kind of protection? Like I see these guys, they have these backpacks and they're blowing all the leaves all over the place.
So-
And the machine's on their back and it's like wicked loud.
Yep.
Does that hurt their ears?
Of course it does. So I always tell my clients, the best thing you can do is protect your hearing. And I always ask the gentleman or the woman, if you're cutting the grass, snow blowing, leaf blowing, landscapers, firefighters, or police officers working details, construction, you have to protect your ears. You have to. Wear either the headphones or some kind of hearing protection.
I've noticed that, but when police officers are doing details, they'll have either plugs or something, or even guys when they're doing that, Fort Johnson, they'll have things over their
Yep.
ears while they're blowing the leaves or whatever.
Great
So-
show today, very informative. Thanks, Charmaine, for coming in.
Thank you.
Because when I go to a concert, I put my earbuds in because it's just too freaking loud.
Yeah.
And it's so much better when you put the earbuds in, because it tones it way down.
It does, but you're also protecting your hearing. So I wear hearing protection when I go to concerts, where it will allow a certain decibel level in, but not one that is going to,
So
know,
you
some-
being a pro, what kind of ear protection do you use?
So what I use is I have a custom earplugs, because when I go to my brother's shows, I'm still able to hear the music, but at certain frequencies, it's blocking that loud frequency from getting into the ear canal.
Great idea. Great idea.
Yeah, like I said, I've never used anything in my ears at all. Never. And I have great hearing, so some of us are very lucky.
Well, I would like to
But
test your hearing.
But I'm also the one that has, the only one, I think, in the family that has diabetes. My uncle Tom Hoey, Red Hoey, he passed at 59 years old because of diabetes. That's another one. That's why I say, but diabetes, I don't know, they say it's not because of I ate a lot of fig squares and donuts. There's other reasons.
Didn't help.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not going to say eating the right foods wouldn't help me in life, but I had a back injury in the Army. I fell out of an APC vehicle and I stopped jogging. I stopped doing sit-ups. I couldn't do a lot of different exercises. And then a belly started to hang over your belt, and I heard that's the quickest way to get diabetes. So I always blamed it on the injury I had in the service, but they don't believe I caught the diabetes that way. They said you got it off, your family. The only one was Uncle Red.
There was
Hoey.
nobody in my family that had diabetes, and my brother Jack found out like 2 years before he passed. He had, all of a sudden, he went in for a procedure, and they said, "Your brother has diabetes." Most to me, and it showed up in his blood test, and he went on. It was a very mild case of diabetes, but it all depends. Nobody in my family had diabetes, but so I think it all depends on the person's makeup, and some people have this, some people have that, and.
The one thing I got that I wish I didn't have is neuropathy. It's pretty nasty.
That's pretty bad. I don't.
Painful, and you
What's
don't.
neuropathy, Bob?
It's
goes with diabetes,
like
but
right
the
now, my left foot has 2 toes that work and 3 is numb. I don't even know they're there. I got a lot of pain in my calf muscles, but to me, you got to walk. You got to get up and force yourself, even though you're in pain. Go buy $100-$200 sneakers. I guess might make it better, but I've tried all kinds of different shoes.
Well, but that goes along with the diabetes. I've heard the neuropathy.
I'm not sure, but
I
I know
thought I
I
was
know
told that
that's the
one time
worst
by a
part of
diabetic.
my
In Tomorrow
life.
City Life, Linda Bound's going to be the host. Town manager from Tingsboro's coming to call on Loisel. And former mayor, current city councilor, Rita Mercy, she's going to be here too. That's Tomorrow City Life. And time is short, kids. You got like 3 minutes left.
All right, so I will.
So, Charmaine, if I wanted to get more information, where is your workplace?
So my office is at 345 Main Street in Tewksbury, Mass. I'm right
like-
in the Walmart Plaza.
Oh, the Walmart Plaza, okay, good.
Yeah.
Because I go to, what do they have, Carewell, the walk-in
Yep, so
place?
Carewell is right next door to us.
Oh, okay.
So I send a lot of people over there to get wax removal, which they do a great job.
That's where they do mine.
Yeah, they do a great job. And then you want to wait 2 or 3 days after getting your ears irrigated to get your hearing tested, because sometimes water can still be in there and it will interfere with the results of the testing.
So if I want to get my ears tested, what's that cost?
So it's free.
It's free?
We do not charge
Do I got to
you-
make a reservation?
You have to make an appointment. Like I said, I see 15 to 30 people a day.
Okay.
So you do have to make an appointment. Monday through Friday, we're open 9 to 5, Mondays till 7, and Saturday by appointment only to accommodate those that cannot get in during the week. But it's a free hearing test. It's a no-brainer. Just get your hearing tested,
What?
and it's for free.
What?
What? That's going to be the epitaph on my gravestone. What?
Yeah, it's free. It's a no-brainer. Why would you not?
Good idea.
And we always
Charmaine,
send you home with literature, so explaining hearing loss, and we're here to help.
Thanks for the info.
Yeah, thank you for having me. A lot of people don't realize the importance. So I hope I answered a lot of your questions.
Yeah, you did.
You
I think
did.
very informative show. Very informative show. You might get hopefully you get a few customers from this,
Yeah.
And we might get our other sister Ronnie on here, the one that has homeless shelters, a couple for 18 to 24-year-old girls, Project Compass. So I'm excited. And she just bought, her and her partners there, they just bought the building next to Hafner's gas station down here.
Yeah. What was that guy's name? Aldridge, Gary. He reached out to me the other day.
Dave,
Dave
yeah.
Aldridge.
Did he, well,
Dave Aldridge.
I gave him your number, by the way, Tom.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah.
wanted to talk to you.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And that's good. That's a good thing, because we still got to focus on the South Common area. Ned Tarmey, Ned's got some big news to say about the South Common that I told me not to say anything. And I don't like holding things in, Ned. So call in next time.
Hope he feels better.
He'll be okay.
He's a great guy.
He is a great guy. Yeah.
Charmaine, thanks for coming in.
Thank you
Thanks for
guys
getting
for
up extra
having
early,
me.
guys. Have a good day.
Yeah.
Thanks
See
for
you next
watching.
week.
Okay.